Well, good morning, everyone. I would invite you to take your seat, but then they're probably going to make us pay for it because you've put it in the boot of your car. So please be seated. That's the clear instruction. All right. So we'd like to, let's just get the slides up and ready. Is that my holding slide for now? Thanks. Folks, thank you very much for being here. As a company, MasterDrive and our team, we appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to be with us here. Just by way of a brief recap, last night we held our Fleet Safety Awards. Just some trivia for you. First year we did it, we had 110. Second year we had 250, and last, as of yesterday, on the one that was entered, was 314. We gave away a total of 200,000 Rand in cash prizes, plus all the other things that were available. So it's nice to see that we could gather a group of people who are committed, and we were oversubscribed. So if you wanted to attend that event last night and you were declined, it wasn't because you're ugly or we didn't want you, all right, or you had BO or something like that because we're in close proximity to one another. It is because it was just impossible. We've set as a target for next year, and it came from the audience, not from me, although it aligns to a degree, 500 entries for the Fleet Safety Awards. And by the way, it costs you nothing to enter, all right? So let's kick off. What I'd like to do is just share this with you. This is the only question I'm going to ask you. When you see that there, have you any idea of what that law is about what is happening? I'll take guesses. Come on, is it too early? Okay, all right. Yes, sir.
It's about changes.
Yeah, changes, but let's see what it is. The law of unintended consequences. And I'm just going to page you through to the definition. Sorry. Yes, we'll get to it in a moment. But let's start with this. One of the persons from a reading perspective and watching on TED Talks that's been very instrumental in driving improved behavior, etc., and we certainly use that in establishing our why. And for those of you who don't know, it is people know what they do, they know how they do it, but they don't know why they do it. And our why, if you've been following any communication from us, is making a difference one day, 1 kilometer, one life at a time. And that's, we look at it. And another quote that I'll share with you is, safety is not a priority, it's a value. The reason why it's a value and not a priority is because priorities change. Two persons that were supposed to be here today head-on crash with one of their vehicles, and these things happen. But as a value, you should never change because it speaks to integrity and the like. Simon Sinek, the quote over there, and there's a short video on it. When he started his business, he said he went to people and they said to him, please explain why I should support you. And he never did. But he went to other people who said, it's not perfect what you've got, but we like the idea. And the point he was making, the part there, the goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. So the ethos that we subscribe to is very geared toward safety, toward education, and a host of other things. So please understand that everybody will be welcome, subject to certain conditions. Thank you for the check for 100,000, Hein. That kind of sets the benchmark, all right? Okay. And here's another quote from Simon Sinek. And this is really what has governed where we are today. Let me read it over there. If you can clearly articulate the dream or the goal, start. Today we are articulating the dream of an association that represents fleet professionals. It's copied on a version of the UK, and by the way, we got to advise them that we were doing it, so there's no issue. And I'll talk you through some of the mechanics in a moment. But if you have a look at the law of unintended consequences, the Fleet Safety Awards, we've been running 3 years, and I've given you the hints over there. But you know what we mined as a result of that? And let nobody tell you data is not important. We determined that there was a need, because this came out in the comments, in the judges' descriptions, etc., for people who operate our fleets to be addressed and looked at individually. Typically, when we have a look at what's happening over there, in the information we received, and if you have a look at the definition over there, we did not plan for this to be. But as a result of that, and if you have a look down the bottom, The ripple effects are difficult to predict. This session is one of those ripple effects, and I'm glad that you could join us when we speak you through it. Just by way of introduction, we're looking at what we're sharing today. We've got our ambassador here from SPV. He doesn't have any money to give us, so that's why we put the logo over there. So please, we're glad to have you on this exciting journey. And here are some of the things that we'll be talking to. We found that fleet managers were ignorant as to many issues. We've chosen the panel today. That's going to be a brief panel discussion on the telematics industry, for want of a better word, because probably like you, we've been offered one of the components of the 300 odd that are on the market. How does a fleet manager know what's good, what's best, etc.? So if we can create a forum where they can share best practice and have an opportunity to be able to engage with people of like mind. And please be warned, as I've said to you, if you believe what we believe in, you're welcome. But when we talk about possible disruptions, I'll share with you what the plan is over there. So what do we then do? We make a plan to educate people. And this is what the AFP has become. There's the introduction that you've seen. It has a project overview. Is to develop fleet managers, and I'll share with you in my view, and it's probably true of many of you as well, a fleet manager is there not because he set it as his career goal or her career goal. They turned out to be very good at doing something, and somebody decided, no, you know about cars, trucks, or whatever it is, you've got an engineering degree, you go and be our fleet manager. Does that mean that they're well equipped to do the job? Another conference we attended the other day, and the person that did one of the keynote addresses, brilliant information. But you know what? His ability to engage with the audience was almost non-existent. And let me tell you, if you're watching, if you're presenting and you're reading things off the back there, so our desire is to enable fleet managers as well. Heinz, the CEO of a multinational company, I'm just telling him he's got offices around the world now. How does that fleet manager go and present his idea or his solution in a manner that the CEO is going to buy into it? He's got to be articulate, well-framed, well-researched. And those are the gains and the intentions of what AFL is about. Just please, I'd like to read this, the goals and objectives. Across business, by ensuring they have access and know the use of information and technology. The panel that we've got together today is just to talk about the telematics industry. Each one will be talking about something specific. So we trust that some of the things that you may be wanting to hear, you will do so now. The scope and deliverables to create within the industry the role as a fleet manager that's aspired to. Can I repeat that? It's something that they aspire to. They've got it as a career goal. And if we're able to do that, we then can talk to the mission and values. And I want you to pay particular attention to the value down the bottom. I've taken that note I shared with you about the quote. Road safety is not a priority, it's a value. And I want you to have a look at what our fleet AF is about. Ensuring that correct use of our roads is not a priority, it is a value. Statistically, roughly 50% of our drivers have obtained their license fraudulently, which means you and I share the road every day with a person who possibly cannot drive, has no indication or no expertise whatsoever. And then I've broken it down into 12 areas. What is our manifesto? No, it's not a political statement. It's about vehicles, all right. Professional development. I'm happy we will share this with everybody present so that you can have a look at what those values are. Professional development, industry standards and best practices. You know what I learned from engaging with CEOs at various breakfasts, etc.? There's such a wealth of information that they retain. But how much of it is passed down? They don't have the time, maybe they don't have an interest. But if we can get the fleet manager to be able to talk to the CEO in a manner that will make sense and unpack it, and in so many instances to do a board proposal, we want the industry standards to be uplifted. Network and knowledge sharing. And I think it's something that you'll appreciate today. If you want to swap business cards, by the way, Danny, where's the card holder? Please, your business card in there. Okay, there's a piece of paper there if you don't have it with you. And if you didn't bring your business card with you, then you're a bum salesperson, all right? And every one of us, irrespective of who they are selling all the time. So please make sure we'll pass the bar jar around. at a later point. Advocacy and representation. I've deliberately left the word government out of it, because when people see what we do through one of the NPOs, we say, oh, can you get a meeting with the minister? It's not my job to get a meeting with the minister for you. I would probably be tapping into you and saying, please, can you arrange a visit? So we're talking about regulators and other stakeholders. And today I think we've got representation from many stakeholders. Career advancement, I think that is self-explanatory. Point number 6, local challenges. So often we get exposed to, oh no, this is what they do in Europe and what they do in the United States. Many of you are aware of our rollover prevention training program as MasterDrive, and many have tried to copy it. But when speaking to them, and we did all our research abroad, the norm there was a 3-day program. I go to any transport operator today and ask him for a driver for 3 days. What does he tell me? I can only afford 1 day. And you know what? The guy's still on call then with his phone. So really, we've adapted and we exported some of that IP to other parts of the world to demonstrate that we're actually advanced. We attended a driver training conference in the Netherlands, I think it was a year ago, and when we saw what European standards are relative to ours, I'm pleasantly surprised to say to you the presentations we put together was a whole lot better than what they do over there. And this, I do believe that people who want to make a difference will be able to do that. So in addition to the local challenges, we're looking at promoting sustainability. And there we also talk to the environment. Just to share with you, on our fireside chat yesterday, we had a lady from DHL that transported 163 Cape vultures. No loss. Quite in contrast to 2014 when the head of a giraffe was snapped off on the highway. So there's a degree of humanity that we brought into that discussion. And then from a sustainability point of view, the organization called Rose Foundation, they're responsible for collecting all the used oils. And I think there's a total of 120 million litres that the South African market is kind of disposes of, and they collect about 80. So what's happening to the other? Probably into the ground, into the drain or something. 1 litre of oil can impact on, I forget the number it is, 1 million litres of water, and that would only be able to be gotten rid of in a period of 20 to 30 years. And what Bubele's request was, go away from here and ask yourself, or ask your fleet manager if he's another person, what do we do with our used oil? And if you're not, give us a call. We're happy to get you in touch with Rose Foundation. And by the way, that's in every small place that they cover in South Africa. So there's no reason for us to dump that into the environment. The 8th point, skills gap. And you'll notice in organizations that have got a CEO, we're busy with a program where you change your business from a business owner-centric to a client-centric type service. Because we've got to cater for the options and the involvement of things that will take place in the next 10 years. The next one, business value. One of the slogans from a company in the UK, it says that road safety is good business. And if you want to know how, I can unpack it for you. Because the investment that you make there will not only be evident from a financial point of view, it's going to be evident in how you treat and engage with your drivers, as well as from an environmental point of view. Point number 10, fostering innovation. And a place, a venue where you can shoot ideas around. You know, one can't patent an idea, but if we share ideas, innovation that's made a difference to us from a road safety point of view, and secondly from an environmental point of view. Don't you think it's obligatory that we share that? It's not about having a competitive advantage in the business. I must say the reason why we donated Bubele, the team at Rose Foundation, we donated 60,000 rands worth of training for those drivers who transport that oil. And that's our commitment to making a difference. Number 11, economic growth. If you have a look at what happens in the event of somebody being injured, worse still, killed in a road accident, it impacts negatively on the organization's growth. And notwithstanding the fact that people may mean well, they don't always act in accord. And then the final one is to create a support system. So let's have a look at the people that we're targeting as potential members. And I want to remind you that quote of Simon Sinek, it was the need to start. We've got our goal in mind. It's not perfect, but as with Simon Sinek said, if I believe in what you believe about me, together we can accomplish that. So there's 6 key areas there for the the fleet manager, and we're going to hone it down, and I'll cover it a little bit more detail in a few moments. We then have membership at a corporate level. I see so often when these guys say, oh, a program that you've got a license for, you've got 20 people that want to use it. Oh, it's so much per person. Hey, the program is great, but I get so annoyed that they want to use me for every single one. So we introduced a corporate membership that the corporate can get benefits from, and I'm going to put them all up. There's 4 of them, at least, that we've identified. And I just draw your attention to Artie there in a moment. It's got nothing to do with what we do, but the principles are very much the same. So, lubes and fuels, fleet monitoring, tires and maintenance. And while we're speaking about tires, would anybody like to guess, tire wear particles? That comes off the tires that we use. Okay? So if we're burning tires at a phenomenal rate, it's 1.5 million tons per annum that tire wear particles find their way onto our roads, into our streams, into our rivers, and ultimately into the fish and the body that you eat. So clearly there's a reason for us to address it holistically and make a difference. And the fact is, if you speak to the reputable tire people, we can get better. Vic, who's not here today, Reef Tankers, was telling me they were getting 1 million kilometers out of a set of tires. A combination, they do several things. So it's gone through the process, in some instances regrooving legally, and then moving that into a retread. 1 million kilometers. Think about what we're not dumping into the environment. So let's just talk about fleet monitoring, and that's why we've chosen as our first panel discussion. It's more chat, guys, that we'll be having, and this is going to be an indicator, a precursor of what we will do in the future. How to manage a fleet successfully. Do you know some of the times that I go in and I speak to somebody and who can I pick on you? Johan. The light's shining off your head, it's blinding me, right? Okay. You ask them what system that they've got. Oh, no, they've got C-Track, they've got CarTrack, they've got Mix, they've got Tracker, whatever. That's an incredible cost. Do you know at the moment, I think there's 2 million vehicles, 2.1 million vehicles that have got telematics equipped in some form or other. And it's projected it's going to be, by the year 2026, I think, 3.8 million. So how do we decide to make sure that the product that we're putting or fitting into our vehicle is the correct one? And then the other one that is also very critical, we think about what's happening with EVs. The ignorance that we found. I attended a presentation a while ago. In 15 minutes, because it was so clear and succinct, I understood more about EVs. And by the way, keep your eyes open. Probably February or thereabouts, we'll be under the auspices of AFP, supported by MasterDrive. We'll be running a program, a hybrid version on EVs. We've already got our guest speakers lined up, best practice standards, and if you go to our stand here, we've got the Mellow van over there. So we are firmly committed to ensuring that the fleet managers of tomorrow are well equipped with the information and the know-how in order to deploy. Justin will be talking very briefly today on EVs and how telematics engages with them. So if we can upgrade this skill and pass that on to others, we will be in a better position to serve the needs of this association. There's others, the insurance, finance, learning. You'll see a key component of that. And I draw your attention to health and safety. The irony, we were running a hybrid vehicle. My insurer refused to cover it any longer. You know, one of the reasons people are concerned about fire, if that thing catches a light, it really is gone, finished. But here's an interesting point on EVs, and I heard it a while ago. There's a Tesla that's been running in the UK with 300,000 miles on it. So the way we assess the value of a vehicle at the end of it, so if we've got finance houses over here, whereas you would have written it over 5 years down to zero, 20% per annum, but we know it's worth a whole lot more. So in order to make their product appealing, they will do it with a residual after 3 years of 50% or something. The EV vehicle market at the moment doesn't have all that information because what is really the issue, they talk about SOH, state of health. And by the way, that Tesla still had 75% capacity left of it. So there's a lot of education to be done on implementing, developing, and must punt for the training. If you've ever driven an EV vehicle, I'm pretty certain you'll notice when you put your foot down what happens. You beat a Ferrari, 0 to 100. On the other hand, you take your foot off the throttle without touching the brake, and the guy who's tailgating you rams up your backside. So a company once told me, no, you drive it like any other vehicle. No, you don't. And therefore, if you want to utilize it, particularly with regard to range, it's important we're doing a race early new year where we've got some EV vehicles, so we'll keep you posted. And if you want to attend and make a donation, nothing less than $1 million, we'd be happy to receive it. All right. So what are the challenges? What are the barriers to entry? Bottom left-hand corner, please pay attention to that. We only wish to deal with people who have a value similar to ours, that you believe in what we're doing and you subscribe to that ethos. And that's about integrity. Simon Sinek speaks about what's a core value? Honesty. No, it's not honesty. But if you have integrity, what will you be? You will be honest. So we want to make sure, and we started teasing about this already earlier in the year, and I'll give you where we are in a moment. But the reception that we've had has been phenomenal. Okay, I must just say to you, tell us more. And the fact that we could get an audience together like this, that helps being at Automechanica. It's something that attaches as a value attached to that. And therefore, one of the challenges we will face, that we will have people that want to be part of this body for the wrong reasons. Fleet managers, and if you take that back, we are not going to expose you to people who have come to sell. And I'm sure you've been to presentations and it's on a product. And you sit there and you think you're going to learn something. I don't know who it was, Spiros from Tracker was saying, at the end of it, here's my price list. It's not about selling your product, but it's about selling your ability and providing the technology that a person can make an informed decision. And the corporate benefits over there, as I alluded to earlier, so we want to make it available to a company. So let's just assume it's 10 over there. They can then share this information prolifically. And please be reminded, and I say it without any form of regret, we will always be pushing the road safety agenda. And by the way, we've got after this session at 1 o'clock, we've got the AGM for RSP. It's an NPO that I chair. We work with Michelin Tires, with Total Energies, and a few others, Anglo-American. And it is to do with our children, to make sure that they get to school safe and to get home safe. They are vulnerable road users. And by the way, there's a global report on road safety 2023, so it's very current. Motorcycles, there's 20 million in the market at the moment. They're projecting that within the next 5 years, it's going to get something like 80 million motorcycles out there. So if you've got a telematics device that's fitted to motorcycles, well, cool, you're going to be in a real growth industry. So how do we keep people out? And you'll see we've set up who the initial directors are so that we can have a look and make sure, because many of people around that attend events of ours are customers of ours. And if you're a customer of mine and you're spending money with me, I'd like to believe that I add value in the bigger sense of the word. And as a result of that, we also introduced a new product last night called Master Cover. In the event of somebody being involved in an accident, they would get assistance with the RAF. By the way, one of the judges was people from RAF, and medical assistance for those who are injured. Because many people today don't have, medical aids. So whilst we're trying to make you safe on the road, if all else fails, we can give you some support over there. And so please be assured that anybody who wants to bypass, who believes it's kosher or halal, to be able to take business on a bribe, we don't want them. And provision in the Constitution for you to say, unless you've corrected it, your membership, irrespective of what you paid or how you've paid, is then revoked. So it's got to be an industry, and I mentioned to you on the one slide there, you saw IATI. Anybody in the travel and airline industry knows IATI, eh? It's an organization, an association that represents its members. And that's where we aspire to in the fleet and logistics space. But any fleet manager, irrespective of whether they run 3 cars, 5 cars, or whatever, has the ability to join and be part of the solution. So, just some milestones. Yes, we are launching FSA. And as per that quote from Simon Sinek, it's not perfect, We're still going through some of the teethings, but we're doing the introduction of AFP. We'll show you a brief site on the website. Membership opens in 2025, and the first event will be running in February 25 as well. So that's our timeline that we're looking at, but in the meantime, there's a wealth of information that we're going to be able to share. These are your role players. Yeah. Okay, myself, Jonathan, who is our unofficial road safety ambassador, and the ambassador for AFP, is going to be talking to you in a few moments about his career path. He was the winner of our first Fleet Safety Awards. And if you see the dynamic growth that he's experienced, and he's with that place that transport money. Hein, can't we figure out how we can get that without shooting anybody? I'd love to have access to that. And then Nashani, she'll say a few words at the end to get the organization going. At this point in time, we're funding it from MasterDrive point of view. And the model that we'll be looking at is a membership basis for an individual, for corporate, and then industry. I won't share with you what they are because it's going to be dependent on a survey that you'll be doing, and we'll show you the link in a moment that you can take it, and I've attached it to a QR code as well. Gandhi, be the change you wish to see in the world. You know, one of the reasons why we do Fleet Safety Awards is because we recognize government is constrained. They can only do so much. However badly or well they do it is almost academic. But it's up to corporates to drive that. And since they accounted for something like 65, maybe 70% of vehicles purchased for business, we need business to take a stand and help us make a difference. So we've arrived, and I'm just going to get our guru at the back there to click on that link and just have a quick view of the landing page, which is not live for you, by the way. Okay, if we can stop it there, please, and just go back to the original presentation. So, we're just going to get this to move. Broad aspects of what we're doing there. We'll cover it in a little bit more detail. We're looking at technical skills, leadership, industry, learning formats, and then we aspire to, in year 3, hopefully in year 2, we can, the standard that they have in the UK or in Europe about professionalism, it's got to do with X amount of training in X number of years for them to be qualified, not like our PRDP that says you can go buy it at the local spaza shop. So, membership benefits is going to be individual, highlighted over there, corporate membership, supplier membership, and then academic membership as well. In many instances, the academic membership will be cost nothing for them, but they will then be responsible for imparting knowledge, skills, and the like within this body over here. So, I think there is the survey, and there's a QR code. I'd like you to take your phones now. And don't tell me you don't have your phone with you, because I'll tell you you're lying. Graham, Erasmus, you speak the truth. That would be a true statement, wouldn't it? So everybody, you get it. And there's some basic questions that we'd like you answered. But we're moving ahead, and if I can say to you, the reason why we've kicked it off in this year, when we started sharing, we heard rumblings of other people, hey, what are we doing? Can we do something? So the trademark is registered, the NPO is registered, and the constitution will be finalized in this year still. So that's our head start. We believe in it, we want it, and with those words, I'd like to hand over to Jonathan now. Where's Jonathan? Hopefully he doesn't transport his money like this being late. Eh?
1, 2, testing. Thank you so much, Eugene. Thank you to the esteemed guest. I see a lot of familiar friends, a lot of colleagues, a lot of people who have been an inspiration to me. How? Hey, Harry, hey. There's a fan club there. So that's tremendous. My name is Jonathan Mphake, as Eugene has said, and today I want to talk to you about persistence, purpose, and passion, the triple P that has directed my life. As I begin, I want to tell a very short story. When I started my first job at Value Logistics, my first real job, I was day 2 going to work at Diesel Road. I was excited. I had my dad with me in the bus. And as I'm there, I'm like, yes, this is a real job. I was selling perfume. I was selling sweets on the road. So, this is a formal grade job. And as I'm there, I'm excited. I'm about to get off the bus. The place is Isando. That's the modern suburban pronunciation. If you're like me, it's Isando, the township pronunciation of it. And as I'm there, I'm about to get out of the bus. I'm going to start my destiny. But as I'm there and I'm trying to take a step out of the bus, the guy decided to drive away. And I fell out of the bus and landed on my arm. There's some stuff that the doctor said, what, big English, broke, and all of these funny things that they said. But the reality is, I said to myself, my father had spoken to Stephen Herbert, who's now the group marketing director for Value. And Stephen said to him, I need someone. No one is applying for this job. You told me about your son. He's applied for this. Bring him, let him start training. And I was on the ground, face first on the floor, eating the dust for real. And I said, this is unacceptable. My father did not raise me to stay on the ground face first and accept the circumstances, even if they're negative. And I stood up, dusted myself off, and went to work. Stephen was concerned, what's happening? You keep on touching your arm, but don't worry, I need to go to the doctor. The next day I came back with a cast on my right hand that I'm right-handed. But I said to Stephen, this is unacceptable. I will not stay on the ground. I will not give up. I will not give in. As a fleet manager, you are thrown with so many things that you have to deal with. Like Eugene has said, so many times it's not the job that you wanted to do. Okay, I switched it off. Okay, this is good. Fleet management people with technology. That's why I have Hein and Clay. They sort out all my problems. But you are faced with so many things that are upon you, and you have to make decisions that are correct, decisions that are right, because it's more than just a job. It's more than just a function. It's actually a calling. So I think change the next slide, because this thing is giving me problems. Can I have the next slide? So one of the things that you have to do, and I've had to do in persistence, is overcoming the obstacles that seem insurmountable. But those obstacles do not remain. As a fleet manager, there's so many things that come. You must worry about fuel consumption, CPK, total cost of ownership, or in my area, you must worry about people with AK-47s and bombs trying to get money and get their own Christmas at this time of the year or during election, whatever they're doing. You have to worry about all of these things, put them together, but it's not just about the semantics and everything that's involved. It's about getting people home safe. There's a safety element to it. And you have to strive for excellence. Like I said, in my environment, one of my key KPIs is the person must come back home safe. They must come back alive. But there are protocols, there are procedures, there are irrefutable principles of fleet management that must be applied. If I talk to George van Heerden sitting here and I say to him, George, I want a specific tire because some of my vehicles get shot at and I need a better tire so that if they get shot, I'm hoping they will be able to drive away to safety. That is a part of it. If I talk to Clay about different types of telematics, video telematics that are enabling us to keep our guys home safe or get them home safe, that are enabling us to look into the vehicle and actually not just take what we see, but use something about it. We are striving for the excellence. And the next slide. And it is a purpose-driven excellence. What we want to do with this program is that people who are in fleet management sometimes are the guys at the bottom. They're in the warehouse. They're looking at chap pallets. They're doing all types of things. They're worried about turnaround time. They're worried about OTIF. They're worried about all of these elements. But we want to empower them so that they are professional in everything that they do because they contribute to the total road safety in South Africa. Gone are the days where we will blame everyone else and not abdicate our own responsibility. It is a purpose-driven ideal. It is absolutely fundamental that we change the tires, we maintain the vehicles, we train our drivers, but also train the people who are behind the drivers so that, yes, we have economic benefit, but they get home safe. And we want to give them the skills, the aptitude, the ideals, the understanding. When I give them a home so they can share knowledge so that they can do their work better. Next slide, please. So in my life, there's been passion. It's about passion. It's about everything that we have to do. It's about looking at my life and saying, I'm not just doing this for now, but there's a purpose, there's persistence, and there's a passion. And that passion leads to excellence. Next slide, please. Maybe you can skip this one. I strongly believe that we have to talk to our drivers, not at our drivers, and encourage them. They move the economy. They do so much. But those people who are behind them have to be equipped. The next slide, please. And the call to what we want to do with this. We want to embrace best practice. We want the professionalization and the acknowledgement of fleet managers in all that they do. We want that to be clear. We want that to be concise to them. We want to uplift and empower them. We want to educate them so that collectively we start making a dent in the carnage that's on the road. We start professionalizing. We start lifting the economy of the country. This purpose is not just inside the truck. This purpose is not just on paper. This purpose is not just an ideal, but this purpose has meaning. This purpose is a destiny. This purpose is a calling. So I want to encourage you today, join with us, partner with us. We are going to change. We are going to revolutionize this industry through uplifting the fleet managers and making them professional. Next slide as I close. The last two sentences, what is my why? My father was a truck driver for many a year, over 30 years. And I do this because I know the feeling that it is to be one of the children waiting for the truck driver to come back home safe. And I do everything with a passion, and I put myself in the seats of those children. And my mom who had to wait for him, and my sister who had to wait for him. And through his salary, through him sacrificing, doing this, he got everyone to progress in his family. Thank you very much.
Just while they're bringing up the stools for the panel discussion, the first time I heard Jonathan speak, he was like a Southern Baptist minister. Eh? You can hear it, eh? By the way, he's toned it down considerably. So none of you are going to go out and get baptized now, just so that we're aware of it, not expecting it, right? So the panel discussion, let's have, where's Vinesh, Jason, Clay, where are you hiding? Where is he? Oh, okay. You know what? He begged off last night. He said he had to go and prepare for this. It's like a 2-minute discussion, but he took off 5 hours. Come up, please, Kay. And where do we have... Who else is there? Come, guys. Short. No, there we are. And Hein, okay? Okay. Please, just a reminder why we're here today or this morning, and we've got 4 heads of industry in South Africa in this particularly sensitive. By the way, that reference I made to last night, which was Berg Insight into Fleet Management Development, it's a growing industry, and therefore we believe that we've just entered this at the right time. So we've got 4 guests. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, not that you don't know them, but in sitting around this table, this is not about being one better than the other. It's talking to the collective and an opportunity. As you saw, they have the privilege, and I'm saying it's a privilege, guys, to be an industry member, because then we can do the things that we want to do, because we can tap into your resources. So we've prepared questions, but we have limited time, because I know you want to get out of here, or at least eat before you do. So we're going to start off with Jason, and I've asked him to address the issues of EVs and also about carbon emissions. So please listen with intent.
Thanks, Eugene. Yeah, I mean, I think the move to EVs is quite a challenging one. The talk around EV is gaining momentum at the moment. I think that there's a lot that needs to be taken into consideration before companies actually make the move to EV. So you need to consider things like your current carbon emissions. Are you actually tracking your carbon emissions at the moment? You need to look at things like the vehicle usage, the type of mileage that the vehicles are doing, the size of the vehicle. You need to look at current cost of ownership, the ROI, if you do move to EV. What we also need to do is have a look, and Jonathan mentioned that fleet managers have got a very complex world that they operate in. What we need to then do is have a look at what kind of complexities would EV add to the fleet. So, you need to start looking at the routes that you're going to be driving. Are the routes going to be EV friendly? Are your drivers trained for EV? Because we all know that drivers have got a very big impact on maintenance and on fuel costs. And it's even more so with EV. So we need to understand from a driver perspective, are the drivers up to scratch to be able to drive EVs? From a fleet management perspective, are your fleet controllers up to speed with what we need to do to transition into that EV environment? Also understanding where the charging stations are. Are the charging stations currently occupied? How long are they going to be occupied for? So those are just a couple of the very high-level points that we need to consider when making the move to EV. It does seem like a very daunting task, but what we've discovered with our experience over the past 2 years is that technology can assist with it. Technology makes that decision extremely easy. By analyzing current usage of ICE vehicles, we can then start making recommendations and making suggestions as to which vehicles can and should be moved across to EV. And I think, Eugene, that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about the launch of the AFP, is because as a collective, as technology suppliers into the industry, we can now start working together and sharing this kind of information and talking to our customers, talking to the industry about best practices, about how we should be doing things and how we should be moving forward.
Thank you very much. Vishnu, can I go to you next? You speak about a curve algorithm for GPS logging works. Do you want to elaborate on that? And there's something else over there. It's patented method of moving data. Just help us.
No problem. So Geotab has got our patent in the curve logging system. So what that means is that we have a way of collecting data. So if you think about traditional tracking devices and the way they send data to their servers, they would send all of their data. And that'll just overwhelm the servers, and it's not a sort of a sustainable solution for them. So what we do is we look at predictive monitoring of the vehicle in the direction the vehicle's going. So we say, if the vehicle's going to go in this direction, we take the maximum amount of error, and that's the position that we log. So we don't go around corners and we don't go around bends. We follow the actual route that the vehicle goes through. But that means that for every other GPS point we collect the other data around the vehicle. So it's not just GPS. It's battery, it's state of health, it's accelerometer stuff, it's oil temperature, fuel, and all of that. And that means that we are able to change the algorithms on the server side and not on the device side, because then we've got the data already. And obviously with that collection of data, we are able to provide insights into customers into how they should better manage their fleet. So the curve logging for us really helps us get more data from the vehicle to be able to provide bigger insights to the customers to help them manage their fleets better.
Thank you very much. Guys, these folks are available for networking afterwards. If you want that explained other than in political terms, they'll share it with you. Clay, if we can go to you. You tell me about intuitive software, API, and then, of course, machine vision and AI, artificial intelligence. Big words. Help us understand them.
Sure, perfect. Thanks so much, Eugene. I think, to your point around artificial intelligence, I think it's quite an overwhelming statement these days. I think everybody uses it as a buzzword, but no one really understands what it does from a video telematics perspective. And speaking from optics, I mean, our business really focuses on video safety solutions as an enabler to get people safely home. We have our partners on the stage here who do telematics extremely well, but our core focus is really around video. I think taking a couple of steps back, looking at the history of our business, is that in order to get to artificial intelligence, we had to use this long forgotten thing called human intelligence. So we've taken this understanding of, over the last 25 years of our business being in operation, using human intelligence to our advantage to label risky behaviors and incidents and feed that into an AI algorithm so that it's already got context and an understanding of what good driving and bad driving looks like. And then using that as an enabler to alert drivers in real time on their risky behaviors, but more so promote a platform to engage and empower drivers from a fleet management perspective to have the right conversations about the right risk so we can get people safely home.
Am I putting you on the spot about your belief in this association?
No, not at all. I think it's an absolute privilege for us to be here. I think we strongly believe in this association, and I think enabling the fleet professional to do their job in a better, more efficient way, I think is our duty as technology enablers to this industry.
Thank you. Okay. Hein, if I can get to you, when we consult with clients of ours and they're using multiple variations, yeah, but what about signal jamming? Those type of things. Just help us understand, please.
Yeah, thanks, Eugene. Yeah, signal jamming is a real issue currently in South Africa. So the way that we have approached it is that we've got we would say a mother and a baby device in the vehicle, so that you have an alternative. Because once signal jamming takes place, you cannot communicate at all. I think we all realize that. So the best part is via BLE or Bluetooth and whatever you want to call it, to then activate a separate device to work on a network like NB-IoT, Sigfox, to make sure that you only get visibility around the vehicle, and still get visibility from your vehicle. So our approach from a C-Track point of view was, we've got something uniquely, we call it on the edge. So all our devices we manufacture locally. We use NVIDIA processors to make sure that we don't need connectivity for the vehicle or for the device to take actions in the vehicle. So when jamming takes place, we can, for instance, activate the hooter, activate flashlights, or even jam the vehicle, or not jam, put the vehicle into limp mode and switch the vehicle off. So it's intelligence on the device. You don't have to report back into the cloud to make action or to take actions in the cloud, but it's on the edge processing. I think that's what we've seen being successful. The more clever we get, the more clever the guy's getting. We see more and more jammers, more bigger jammers, more military spec jammers. So it becomes quite a challenge. But the biggest thing was to make sure to try and take action without any human intervention on the device. And from our side, just being part of this association is a great honor. We're very proud of being with it, and we'll definitely support it from all angles. As Clay says, it's important that we start plowing back all our experiences. I think there's a lot of experience.
Thank you.
That's available.
That was 5K a piece for Clay and for Hein, all right. Justin, let's talk to you. What are some of the challenges that fleet owners that you find when they're trying to implement or get to grips with the data that has been sourced from telematics?
Well, I think that, when you look at doing big data projects within organizations, a lot of the time it isn't limited to telematics. A lot of these big data projects are linked to whether it be a TMS system or whether it be a dispatching platform or your camera systems, or whatever the case may be. So, I think some of the biggest challenges that they face is buy-in from the top. Okay, so a decision is made at the top, and the message or the communication doesn't go all the way through the organization as to why we're making these changes. And as soon as you lose that message, it becomes very challenging to overcome the resistance that you're going to be facing. I'm going to refer back to Jonathan again. I mean, fleet managers have got a very, very complex life. If they haven't bought into it, you're going to get a lot of resistance. They need to understand exactly why it is, what is the benefit to themselves, what is the benefit to the business, what is the benefit to the drivers. And what we do, I mean, I spoke about it last night, everything we do from a web fleet perspective, from a development perspective, our underlying ethos is safety. It's always safety, safety, safety. So whatever we do, we have a look at what is the benefit, how's it going to create efficiencies for that business, how's it going to enhance the performance of the vehicles, but what is the safety element of it. So as long as we get the message through from the top all the way down to the bottom, we find that implementation of big data projects is always a lot easier than if that message is not carried through. And sorry, Eugene, of course the people change. We have to have a proper change management process in place to manage what, and please don't anybody get offended by this, but to manage what I like to refer to as the pink matter, which is the human element. We need to manage that pink matter element.
I don't know if you've noticed, each one of them has dropped their company name in, eh? We allowed it, so don't get upset by it. Vishnu, talk about some of the key technologies that have been developing now that is going to transform the way people see. Let's talk about fleet management because it's all interconnected. What are some of those technologies that you see?
Yeah, I think, if we talk about this buzzword AI, artificial intelligence that's going on, I think there's a lot of stuff that's been happening for a very long time. And as telematics companies, we've been collecting data and we've been able to provide sort of data insights to some companies. But with that comes predictive analysis. For us to be able to help the fleet manager better manage their fleet. We can collect the data, we can benchmark it around the 5 million devices that we have to say, well, this is how you manage vehicles, manage vehicle vocations, types of vehicles that go on the road, and all of that. And we've been doing things with AI through our systems, and we've designed something I thought I'd put on the screen, but I'm not sure if I can do it right now, called Jordt ACE. Basically, what that means is it is the literal type of questions you can ask an AI platform. So even in the simplest form, you could ask it to tell you which is the best running vehicle in the fleet without having to go through reports and all of that. So it's really something that's going to change the way fleet managers do things on a very demanding basis. We've got driver scorecards and we've got very sort of reactive stuff, traditional stuff, but in an age where you want to be not managing your telematics system on the platform, you want to be able to ask a question quickly, get a result, and be able to action it as quickly as possible. So from our perspective, that's sort of what's coming, and that's going to, I think, change the way people do fleet stuff.
Your long answer prevented us playing that video, right? No. But guys, at the end of it, all of the packs were loaded, so it is interesting. We will see if you'd like to have a look at that. Clay, let's talk about what do you see? Yes, that's you, is it? No, sorry, that's. Let's get to the other one. Oh, yeah, no, there it is right at the top. What types of data insights are most valuable for improving fleet efficiency, safety, and efficacy?
Sure. So, thanks, Julian. I think that each of those three statements are fundamentally different. I think that efficiency and risk play more of an important role together than what any of us realize. I think in order to get the most out of efficiency, you need unique and bespoke data in order to help you achieve operational efficiency, so getting the right vehicle to the right location on the right route, but marrying that with risk information and behavior information so that we can optimize the efficiency environment, and combining both of those together really helps drive profitability to your third point. But I think for us, it's about how do we how do we help find that golden thread of the marriage between risk and efficiency? Because the truth is, if you want to be too safe, then just don't get out of bed in the morning. And if you want to be too efficient, you're just going to have accidents every single day. So how do we leverage data insights to create action for us to help change our operational environment to consider both? So when we're routing a vehicle on a specific road, how do we consider the collision impact or the probability of collision to occur? And instead of routing through the risk because it's the quickest or the least amount of miles to get there, how do we combine both so we can give our customers intelligence that helps increase their operational effectiveness?
Thank you. Hein, I just want to mention something but before. Let me just pose a question to you. Where do you see fleet management being in the next, call it, 3 to 5, maybe 10 years? Just reflect on that. Guys, I'm just to everybody around this panel, when you asked, first of all, would you like to and would you help us out by participating? And the answer was yes, immediately. They didn't say I need to check my diary, all right? It was an affirmative. And that's the level of commitment that we're looking for, because we believe that they've got something valuable to put back. Hein, over to you.
Yeah, so as I said, everybody's talking about machine learning and artificial intelligence, and as when we heard about Jonathan, at the end of the day, I mean, there's OEMs coming out with telematics. They've got a specific focus. We play in a specific role. At the end of the day, the person that's got the biggest impact on that device is the driver. So we have realized next year we'll be in business for 40 years. We've got 40 years worth of data. And we've experienced and looked at driver's profile. If you look at any individual driver, after 3 months, we've got the profile. We exactly know how Clay is driving. So that immediately makes it easy to determine if anything is wrong. So is there weather playing a role? What is playing a role? Why is there a change? So we've got the ability, without any action, to contact the owner and say, someone else driving the truck, are you aware of it? Is there a problem? You'll remember in the early days, the insurance guys were using that. So I think that it'll become more automatically, if I may use that word, because of a lack of a better word. So I think it'll be more automation. And data will play a crucial role. We've now been fortunate to have actuaries and data scientists on board that were part of one of the big insurers developed rewards programs. And we more and more see, even across the world, that weather is playing a role. You need to start having an ecosystem around a vehicle. Because the OEMs got specific information, they will improve their solution. And for them, it's about improving their product and making sure that they can have a better product and sell more of their product. For us, it's at the end of the day, the driver. How do we get the driver to know what is his score and how does he become promotable out there? So that at the end of the day, there's a big demand for the driver, because ultimately he plays the role. And I think it'll be more in-cab communication with drivers. There will be a lot of sort of gamification. Technology is currently being testing where a picture has been taken from a cell phone, and it immediately you can see the driver's blood pressure, you can see his heart rate, you can see all of that, and you can use that to either make him start the vehicle or not start the vehicle due to his medical condition. So it's becoming more and more, it'll become more and more important to have the total ecosystem. And at the end of the day, I think it's the biggest challenge is to assist the fleet managers to understand what is important, what are the 5 pillars or 6 pillars in their business that's important, so that you can tailor-make the solution around their needs. Because everybody is bombarded by a huge amount of information, but so what? If it's, we traditionally say, my colleague to the left was talking about insight. We all know it was about hindsight, insight, foresight. It's now going into the predictive space, where you start predicting if a truck leaves Cape Town, and it's MAN, TGA, whatever, and it's got this load on it, that truck will drive to Beaufort West, and the fuel consumption will be X. You need to refuel there, because that's where the owner is getting the biggest fuel rebate. So it'll become more like that, more interaction in the cab, more assisting the driver at the end of the day on how he's driving.
Thank you. George Orwell, eh? Big Brother. Hey, so meet Big Brother. We won't call him Hein any longer. He's going to have oversight. I must just tell you something. We've got one of their devices attached to one of our performance cars. We compete in Samola Hill Climb. You're going up there, And this thing, you get messages, you're overspeeding. I want to tell the thing to shut up. Ask Charles, can't you do anything? Change it to whatever speed we're doing. So, yeah, it's a pain, but it's a necessary pain, if I can say. Justin, a fleet manager's role is an invidious one because sometimes the message that they carry across is not a nice one. Buckle up, don't speed, conserve fuel. They're seen as party poopers. So, in thinking of what fleet management is the future, what can we do? What do you suggest for fleet managers to be able to implement all these incredible things and be able to get approval? What do you suggest to these guys?
I think the first thing is the business. If you're going to be implementing or making big changes, the business needs to be mature enough to be able to handle those changes. We've seen it all too often where you go into an organization and they are making massive changes and you're kind of going, slow down. You're taking on way more than what you can handle at this point in time. You don't have the basics in place. So, and I'm not talking about small businesses. I'm talking about some large organizations when I say this. So I think that from a fleet management perspective, they need to first make sure that the business is mature enough to be able to handle those changes. The business needs to be in a position where if you start implementing big data projects, that all the role players, as I said earlier, have bought into it, and there's a good understanding as to why we're making these changes, and then also do it in bite-sized chunks. We quite often when we go, especially into some of the larger organizations, they'll be doing a telematics change, and they might be doing a TMS change, and they might be doing a dispatching or a dispatching platform change. And all of that involves integration. So you've got 2 to 3 to 4 different platform integrations taking place. And if you try to throw all of that into one go, people just get confused. What we found in the past is then suppliers start pointing fingers at each other, and at the end of the day, it's the fleet company that loses out. So the big thing is understand why the change is being made and make sure that you are ready for the change and do it in small bite-sized chunks.
Thank you. Vishnu, what do you see are the benefits to the uninformed fleet owner? What would you highlight as the benefits to buying into systems that give us all these advantages?
Thank you. So I'd also like to just thank you, Eugene, for setting this up. And I think in a space that we are in as telematics providers, there's a role to play in terms of collaboration and competition. As companies, we are able to provide data to other companies to be able to help their fleet.
Excuse me, son.
So help better make it for the profession itself. So I think it's a really good body that you guys have put together. From our perspective, it's when we try to help customers, we want to be able to provide great insights into it. And I think like most of us have teams that look into data and are able to provide insights into it. What we need to do, though, is be able to understand the customer's requirement. Very little do we actually sit with the customer and say, what are your pain points? How can we help you? Because in their space, they understand their transport space. We understand the telematics side of it. How can we better use the data that we've collected over the 40 years, over the 20 years, 25 years, whatever the case may be, and help solve real-life problems? And with that, you take it to the industry to solve sort of other problems. We have an ecosystem where we collaborate with other guys and bring them into our marketplace through our SDK. And we have a marketplace that allows the rest of the customers across, whether they're a GeoTap customer or not, to be able to look at it and take ideas from it and say, how can we better help you? Then themselves, with these solutions through collaborative efforts, we are able to put that in our marketplace to help the rest of the guys, because we are good at what we do. We can't be all things to all people, but we can partner with the best in breed to be able to bring that data in to help our customers.
Thank you very much. We know all of the good things, the data and whatever footage you're getting. How can fleet managers leverage that in their best interests?
So I think, Eugene, there's many ways to do that. I think it's again around providing consolidated data dashboards that help give the fleet manager a bit of guidance in the right direction. I think every single day we're thrown with so much data that you end up not knowing what to do with it. It becomes extremely overwhelming. So I mean, to some of my colleagues' points over here, gathering telematics data but combining that with video data and other data entry points from a business operation and consolidating that in a single view is really how we can leverage the most out of these types of analytics. So I can give you like a rudimentary example of that, but we look at video safety in an incident basis. So in this incident, something happened, it was unwanted, what are we going to do about it? Here's a report. From a telematics perspective, it's the same thing. It's a different measure. One looks at speeding as an example, the other looks at a behavior concern like fatigue. But why can't we combine those data sets together to look at a driver's risk profile on a risk per kilometer basis as an example? But I think that we as technology providers really have a duty to our customers to provide them with such data insights that can help increase the overall effectiveness of the solutions that we provide them and not treat them as individual siloed offerings.
Thank you. Older folks here, you'll remember the time when they were producing from First Auto, I think it was at the time, you go into a fleet manager's office, you saw all those fuel reports, eh? Did he do anything with it? So it doesn't, if there's no will to use it, and what Claire is talking about, and that's part of what our association is intended to do, is to make sure people understand and what they can retrieve from that, because it all positively impacts. Hein, one last question to you, and then we're just going to do after that a quick wrap-up in like 2 seconds or less, all right? So, Hein, how can fleets future-proof their operations and stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah, thanks, Eugene. The most important thing is to make sure that you exactly know what is the outcome you expected from your technology partner. I think there's a huge amount of noise. There's a huge amount of competition in South Africa, and which is good. But the biggest thing that we see is if you start analyzing what customers are using, it is very much old. Where's the vehicle? What did it do? Trips, replay on a trip, or when there's an issue. So, and then normally there's issues around data, there's a lot of other issues, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. So I think the most important part is to exactly understand what is the outcome that you expected from your technology partner. That will ensure that you get the best of breed, and to understand that you start integrating whatever is needed to get the ecosystem to make informed decisions. Because telematics play a small role, video plays a small role. If you add video to telematics, you start getting a better context. Then there's a lot of other stuff that plays a role, the driver, etc., etc. But it's to understand exactly what is the outcome. I think that's the most important thing. We come across what our experience, even in the Middle East, is guys are coming and say, well, they want this and this and that, and it's all a lot of noise and a lot of hearsay, but they really don't know why they want it. And I think that's for me, that's the most single important thing. Is otherwise it can become cluttered, and it become noisy, and then there's just a frustration between yourself and your technology partner.
Thank you very much. Let's do a quick wrap-up. Just your parting message, please, because I think you, whether it's about the association or advice in general. Please, Justin, let's start with you.
Well, mine's going to be about the association. I think just to add to Hein's point, and I think this is one of the reasons why I think that the association is so good, is because that noise and that clutter, us as technology suppliers should be advising the members and the fleet managers and the fleet companies and the fleet transporters, not even transporters. I mean, if we're talking fleet, we're talking anybody who uses vehicles for a business purpose. I think we should be talking about the clutter and what to look out for and what not to look out for, and advising on what are the best practices from a technology perspective, whether it be camera, or whether it be telematics, or whether it be talking into TMS systems, or whatever the case may be. I think we've got a very big, very important role to play in that, which is why I think this is a really good initiative.
Thank you. We've done one of our vehicles. Where's Cornell Dastic IVM? We've fitted it and we're making it available to our clients to test. One of the biggest problems is fuel consumption, which results in CO2 emissions, etc., etc. The system we're running, it governs it to about 80% of the power. The driver's essentially not aware of it even. The car's still performing. So we've created that with the technology also to be able to, and we caught a guy the other day, and you know what, and I'm not going to use the appropriate finger, but he looked at the camera and he used a finger. 3. Do you know why? Because it gives you plausible deniability. Okay, so Hein, please, parting message.
Yeah, thanks. I think, as I said in the beginning, this association is a big opportunity and a great opportunity to plow back into the industry and get even more advice from people that is part of the industry or the association on developing what will be the next best thing. So thanks.
Thank you. Clay?
What's for lunch, Eugene? I'm joking.
He didn't pay to be here even.
I'm joking. No, I think my parting message, I think Justin and Han have touched on the association. I think from our perspective, we just like to employ the fleet operators, fleet managers and fleet owners to really use our technology as an enabler to really help you and not look at it as a cost. I think if it's utilized correctly and you combine these insights to add actionable momentum within your operation, you'll really seek the value that these solutions are trying to bring to you. So again, but I think it's our duty to inform all of the people as part of this association what that really looks like. Because to take a couple of steps back, we spoke about the overwhelming amount of data. I think we also have a responsibility to guide our customers in the right direction on what data they should be looking out for that they're even not aware of yet.
Thank you. Vishnu, because you get to say the last word because I'm not playing your video now.
Thanks. Yes. I was really
That's
hoping
called
you
ambush
played.
marketing, eh? He wanted to slip it in before the other guys got it.
So from our perspective, I think I think Justin, you touched on it yesterday. Tracking is not telematics, and I think that's as professionals we need to find a way of separating the two, because most of the guys that bring in these sort of devices think they're telematics devices. They're not. So the education in the market needs to change from tracking is not telematics, tracking is tracking. And what we do is really, as professionals in the space, is that our aim is to help tracking companies and logistic companies and the guys that monitor their vehicles to better manage their fleet. And the only way you can do that is through monitoring vehicle telematics, connecting sensors, connecting things that really make a difference to it, and collaborating with partners that also manage themselves in the telematic space.
Vishnu, folks, give them a big round of applause. All right. Come on, you can do better than that. There we are. Guys, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We're now going to take, I think Jonathan comes up again. There we are. So he's going to become not a Southern Baptist, he's going to become a Northern Baptist minister now. All right. Okay, thanks, guys. You're not using...
No. So thank you very much once again. And just to reiterate and encapsulate what was discussed today, fleet managers are essential, they're necessary. And as you've heard from the panel discussion, there is so much science, there is so much data, and what we need is insights. What we need is actionable insights. We need a picture that will help us manage our vehicles properly, because there's people behind it. Eugene, he doesn't punt and market himself, but one of the things that we have done over the years in partnership with MasterDrive is that we've taken the insights and the data that the esteemed panel was talking about, and when we give it to a Eugene to say, train my driver, there's like a map that says, these are the gaps where this person is. This is where we need to help him. This is where we need to empower him to do what is right. So in the same breath, if you flip that to fleet managers, we need to have that map for ourselves. Eugene spoke about a gentleman who couldn't connect with the crowd. As a fleet manager, you must ask for CapEx. In my life, you must be able to talk to bankers and people who have great financial language. They will ask you about PBIT. I'm like, who is PBIT? What is his surname? Who is this guy? They will ask you about profitability and all of these things. And you're going to have able to have a financial acumen, an acumen to talk to ExCo level people. an acumen to discern what is happening with your fleet, with your team, commensurate to the economic challenges that your particular business faces. An acumen of taking data and saying, how do I use this data to avoid cost or become more efficient? Johan spoke about TMS. A lot of people have a misconception of what TMS is. It's transport management solution. It's not a software alone, but how do you integrate looking at your deliveries, your collections, your reverse logistics in a platform where it's data, but that actually says to you, how can I keep the promise to my customer? What is customer centricity really in the transport and supply chain world? So all of this are the skills that are needed for fleet managers. And I want to encourage each and every one of the people in the room, the people online, partner with us. Like I said, this is a calling. This is a call to action. This is something that's going to shake the very foundations of fleet management in the country. And I'm encouraging you, get in the vehicle with us. Let's start it's not a skoro Zolabat taxi, no. Get in the vehicle with us and let's go to a journey of excellence. At this stage, I want to call up Nishani, the lady who's behind the scenes, the one who does all the good and excellent work. Without Nishani, we can't do anything. She puts up with all our nonsense and all our strange things that we throw at her last minute, and she just makes it all the while better. So we want to really, let's give Nishani a hand as she comes in.
Jonathan, I'm actually glad you mentioned the last minute part. Good day, one and all. Today marks a turning point, a very important journey for fleet management in South Africa. Through our years of experience, and also hosting the Fleet Safety Awards over the past 3 years, we've discovered a critical truth. Fleet management is more than just managing vehicles. It's about a professional growth, continuous learning, and creating a strategic career path for those in the industry. We will be addressing key industry challenges, the knowledge gap in fleet management, the lack of standardized training, and the absence of a unified platform for sharing best practices. The Association for Fleet Professionals is our answer. We will be offering a comprehensive skills development program, leadership training, and industry-specific knowledge, and further, a clear certification pathway from entry level to executive. Our vision is simple but powerful. Transform fleet management from an operational role into a strategic, innovative profession. To every fleet manager and every fleet professional here today, this is your platform, your community, and your future. The challenges ahead are significant. Technological disruption, environmental constraints, economic pressures, but these are also our greatest opportunities. Through the Association for Fleet Professionals, we will not just navigate these challenges, but we will also lead the way. In February next year, I'm sure you heard Eugene speaking about it, we will host our EV conference. We've already got strategic players in place to see how we will address some of these challenges. You all will be invited to the conference. I'd just like to leave you with the note that our journey starts today and our impact begins now. I'd like to hand you back to Eugene Herbert. Thank you.
Come on, you can't give the panel a better round of applause than Nishani. Eh? All right. As you know, this was also broadcast virtually. Lauren is managing it at the back there, and some of her skills is contributing toward making any of these hybrid events work for us. There will be a copy of that recording. If you'd like to get it, please, we're happy to share with you. But just to echo Jonathan's words and Nishani's, but I'd just like to add to it, thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in us. And please spread the word. Let us not be selfish about this. Let's open it up to as many people as what we can. I would like to believe that next year, associated with our Fleet Safety Awards, we will be able to have something where this venue won't be able to manage it or contain it. But we're going to have to ask you for money for that, of course. All right? So, folks, each and every one of you, if you'd like to chat to us afterwards, but we'll be making an information pack available in the near future, and we will share that with you. This is the part that most of the guys come. We tell them there's prizes. And guess what? And they pitch, eh? That's why you're here, Clegg. I know that. All right. Okay. So, out of the business card drawer, there's 2 FSA swag bags. Anybody know what a swag bag is?
Gift bag.
Eish. It takes a man from the insurance industry to know that. Okay, so there's 2 swag bags. Business card holders, have you put your cards in, guys? No. Hey, come on. I reiterate what I said earlier. If you didn't bring a business card with you, where's the bill? You know, we need people to speak English as well, all right? That's our official medium of communication. Nee, is okay, maat. Moenie worry nie. Dis die bleskop wat so werk. Any cards there you want to put in? So the next event you attend, you are going to put your business cards in so you don't delay us before, all right? You agree, sir? And you? Okay, thank you. Listen, you guys are a cool bunch of people, and the crowd that we had last night was all. If you want to attend that, please remember, keep your eyes open. We've already started planning for next year, so we'll keep you on the radar.
This is the 6 for the virtual.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to draw for 2 swag bags, 2 flower arrangements, and an MD gift hamper. Clay, I've been mocking you, so please would you do the first draw for us? And just don't give us an optics fleet management system, all right? Yeah. Hell, this is coincidental. First prize goes to Eugene, and the second prize goes to Nishani. All right, okay. All right. Let's take the first one, Malusi Kubeka. Where are you? There he is. And the second one, I didn't orchestrate this, Cornel Jonker from IVM. Come, Cornel. Okay, so you look super intelligent. Can I ask you to do the next 2 draws, please? Give us your name. Given. No, I'm not giving you anything. These are 2 flower arrangements. Ian McOlive. Where are you? You're at the back there, Ian. You know what? This guy is a cool guy. He follows all the stuff we do. He writes about it. He doesn't necessarily get to be invited, but because he paid 50K this time, we let him come along. Ian? And we expect to see the story, and you're going to share with everybody. And then the second one, Leanne Corvisier. Where are you, Leanne? There we are. They say no event is an event without a blonde. We've got several blondes today. And we've got, where's the other one? And then the virtual ones. Okay. 6 people in attendance on virtually going to get swag bags. Give them also a round of applause when we finished. Michelle Guy from the Spur Corporation. She's serving burgers after this, if she didn't know it before. Elka Dupasani from Power Fleet. Adele Bunsen from Unitrans. Where are you, Adele? Are you here? Oh, virtually. Is she online? Does she acknowledge it? Yeah, cool, thanks. Julian Pillay from RMI. Leon Chetty from Ecolab. And then the last one, Anthony Dean van der Nest from Lancet. So guys, congratulations. We're glad that you could be part of this event. And is there anything else to give away? One more draw. And what are we drawing for here? Oh, the MD gift hamper. And a steady man, skiddy bunda. George from GT Tires. George van Heerden, come. Hey, no, you weren't in attendance. You were doing business at the back. Come on. Be fair. Okay, thank you, George. I must say, he partly provides us with tires for our rig up there. If you haven't seen it, we give it a hard time. We do about 1,000 kilometers on a tire. So that's pretty good average, eh? All right, folks, that officially brings to an end the event. We finished 5 minutes overdue, but lunch is going to be served. Please hang around, chat, whatever. We will share more detailed information. At the moment, we'll give you anecdotal confirmation of the things that you can benefit. And here's your commitment. And I'm asking you whether you agree to it, to take away the message. We saw 4 panelists, and please, I didn't pay them to be there to say those words. Who are you going to influence? And here's a challenge to you. Share this with at least 5 others. You've got it? You will share it with 5 others, because who knows, that could make the difference in some person's life and not be another statistic. So thank you. Big round of applause to yourselves, and we'll see you again.